So this is a little bit of history about women in amateur radio who were hands before me. And from the 1960s to the present day, and the women of LIMARC who have helped form this club. So I'm going to do an overview. You know, how did you become a ham? How did women become hams? A little bit of life as a YL or XYL. I'm going to have to describe what that means, right? YL role models and YL clubs and organizations. And then we'll have a question and answer session after that.
Every time you send the stage, I'll click the thing.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so how did I become a ham? Well, when I was growing up in the 50s and 60s, I didn't know what a ham radio operator. But my father didn't have any sons. He had me and my sister. He wasn't interested in anything at the time. But I was. So where did we go? Canal Street, downtown, known as Radio Row. In the 1950s and 60s, all of this place was full of equipment and electronics and all kinds of good stuff. So it was from the 1920s up to about 1966, when the construction to the World Trade Center kind of made that area disappear. Anybody remember going to that area? Oh, good, I'm here with my compatriots. Oh, so that was fun. So my father was the type of guy, he didn't have a lot of education, no one went to third grade in Puerto Rico. He came here in 1918 when he was 10 years old. And he married my mom in the late 1930s, and he became interested in fixing things. So sometime in there, in my genes somewhere, from my father, he loved picking up old radios and equipment that people would throw out. And after a while, where I grew up, which was in Little Village, Queens, kind of near Forest Hills and Ridgewood, that area, everybody used to bring their stuff to my dad. So that was a lot of fun, and I got a little bit of an introduction into electronics. So what was my job? Hey, Diane, I need a tube. Go test this at the drugstore. So I would go to the local drugstore about 6 blocks away where they had one of those, a tube tester. Anybody remember those? It was free. Right? It was free at the drugstore. Right? And it had drawers that pulled out where all the tubes were, and you would plug the tube in, and then you would see, you know, if it came up good or bad, and then you would be going in the drawer and you'd pay at the counter, at the pharmacy counter, for a tube. Right? And back then, that's the back cover of March 1960. What year is that? Sure, can you read that? That's an old UST. But back then, most of the radios were just tubes. Right? Tubes were the heart and soul of electronics. Back in that era. Right? So that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. And I would also go with my father to the junkyard. He liked to fix cars too. So that's where I learned a little bit of that. So that started my introduction to electronics. So after that, I went to high school. I went to a Catholic high school. I learned Latin. I learned religion. There were no shop teachers. It was all girls. So a lot of male hams back then got introduced to ham radio at their high school. Maybe it was a technical school, and there was a shop teacher, and maybe he was a hammer interested in electronics. But there weren't many women who got exposed to electronics back then. I didn't. Right? I learned little things that weren't that particularly interesting. Right? So when I went to college, I majored in electrical technology at Queensboro Community College. And guess what? One of my instructors was a ham. Right? So he introduced me to ham radio. I joined the local college radio station. But then I needed money to keep this habit of wanting to learn about radio and do radio things. So the college set me up with a part-time job at a local radio station. Radio station WTFM 103.5. Right in fresh on the local Long Island Expressway for a long time. There was a thin tower there. And at the bottom of the tower, on half the building, was a radio station. Right, and the other half was a restaurant. And you could go to this restaurant called the Broadcasters Inn. righty. So let's turn the page here.
I got my page.
Okay. All right. So now YLs are starting to get recognized in ham radio because they've been around a long time. Right? The YLRL, the Young Ladies Radio League, started back in 1938. Right? When a group of YLs decided, hey, you know, we don't have so many people who are doing this. Let's get together. And they started. And in QST, one of the first YL columns was in the early 1960s. There was a whole column in QST magazine about women hams. Wow, people thought this was great. Right? And also, a lot of other magazines and publications started to focus on women hams as well. So even back then, the few women hams that they were getting together, finding each other, and celebrating their interest in amateur radio. All right, so back in the 60s and 70s, believe it or not, there were a lot of women amateur radio clubs and organizations. Here are a couple of them. LIMARC, Second Area YL Amateur Radio Club. That was mostly in New York, and we had about 65 women hams that belonged to that, as I did as well. We also had, of course, the YLRL, which was a national organization. There was also the Buckeye Bells UX Club. Anybody can guess where they're located? Ohio. Yeah, so they were very, very active as well. Then there's the Canadian and Australian Amateur Radio Association. And somehow, even before the internet, we found each other. There were newsletters that were produced. There were other meetings and events. And of course, where did we get together? On the internet. Right? There were nets, there were meetings that we were able to talk to each other on the air. And that helped everybody keep an interest in amateur radio. So of course, being women, I don't want to generalize, but we like getting together. We like social events. The social part of amateur radio was very important to most of the YLs that I met. So every year, many of the organizations, especially the YLRL, had national conventions. Here is one on the top. That goes back to 1968 in Denver, Colorado. Look how many YLs were there who made the trip to Denver, Colorado in the late 60s just to get together and talk about amateur radio. And more recently, one where my OM George joined me on the Queens area in 1999 in Long Beach, California. That was a huge one where women from all over the world came and attended the national convention. So these are things that many OMs, many male hams didn't even know about. But there in the background, the women were getting together. We were planning. We were doing things. We were having nets. We were doing other activities. Women hams became active in local radio clubs. Many of you probably who were in hams a long time have heard of Madeline and Arthur Greenberg, W2EEO, and her husband's called, it escapes me right now. But Madeline was very influential at Radio Central and in ham radio on Long Island. She was one of the first women to host hams from outside the country. And she had her door open all the time. I remember going to her house and going there, and every time I went, she seemed to have hams from another country there. So I would get to meet them. She would introduce me. They were open with sharing their station. And they were very influential in the local ham radio community. Her husband, Art, also was a very big researcher in amateur radio, and a lot of his experiments and discoveries are used even today. And a funny thing, I met the current W2EEO because my husband George and I own a motorcycle school where we teach people how to ride. And one of our recent students pulled up in a truck, and what was his license plate? W2EEO. Her great-grandson had come to our school to learn how to ride. And apparently he's living in their old old house. And he's an active ham, and was so impressed with amateur radio that he took her fall. I said, wow, how cool is that? To meet her great-grandson. It was an honor. So here's a picture of K2DO on the left, Madeline Greenberg, and two other hams, Anne and her helpers, at another event here on Long Island. Now let's go to something more maybe interesting to you is LIMARC in the 1990s. Right, we had a lot of hams in the club at that time. So back, I guess it's skipping one, but anyway.
Next one or backward? Backward, Jerry.
Back.
Let's get some back.
Okay, back arrow.
Back arrow.
Back arrow.
Oh,
Okay, no, it's okay. Well, it's okay.
Hold on a second. I'm sorry. Here we go. All right, sorry.
That's okay. All right, so LIMARC in the 1990s. Yes. Where everybody asks, where were the YLs? We were there. We were there at the LIMARC campus. There we are, N2FSC, N2GSL. That's myself in the middle when I was K2DO, and Nancy Rosner, N2TKA. Right, and we were at the LIMARC table along with a lot of other women hams who were there to meet and greet. And at the top, that's there our Hudson Division Convention, another ham radio operator, Jane, T2JAN, and her husband, N2RLG. So they, among many other women hams and couples who were amateur radio operators. Now you may say, well, you know, did the husband come here first? Well, not in all these cases. I'm a ham 50 years. My husband is a ham. How many years? 31. Was a ham first? I was a ham first. Right? But that was not something that people expected. So a lot of women amateur radio operators brought their husbands and friends and family into the hobby. It's not always the other way around. Okay, now it's the LIMARC holiday party. Some more amateur radio couples. You may have heard their names. Candy and Peter. Candy, N2XSY. And when she got that call, she was happy until she got on a repeater and said her name and her call sign, and her name is Candy, N2SXY. Hadn't even heard the jammer. Oh, the jammer had a field day. But to her credit, she kept it. And we also have Wally and Tina with the VCVCR and N2XUD, and Rich, who's now a final key, Rich Rosner, N2STU, and his wife Nancy, N2TKA. And one of the things about ham radio here at LIMARC is we're all still friends. In fact, Wally and Tina are here tonight. They came tonight to LIMARC up from Florida to come and join us tonight. And we've been lifelong friends with all of them. So some of the activities we all participated in, special events, all those holiday parties. We were always at field day and the junior operators club. Anybody remember those? That was we took young hams, and that is something you want to do again. Right, to introduce them to QRP and to camping. Right, we took them up to our North South Lake. We have right, so that was introduced. Sometimes we would take 25, 30 young people on a QRP camping trip. Right, so now we could do that with quotas, right? The bucks on the air. I was thinking about maybe taking a group of young hams right over to one of the state and national parks and get on the air with QRP. We've got a lot of young hams into LIMARC at that time doing those kinds of activities. And Nancy and I, NCTKA and I ran a YLNet on Tuesday evening on the 8-5 repeater. And we tried valiantly for months and months and months until finally the jammer won. And we couldn't do it anymore. But it was a great way to keep in touch locally as well as on HF. And LIMARC YLs are involved in every area of the club. On the top left, all right, we have LIMARC Field Day. And thanks to Wally of the PCR who worked at Mendon, we got a Mendon truck for our field day all the time. And we had to bring that stuff to one of But we also, that's on the top right, that's one of the QRP camping trips, the North South Lake, that we went on. And we all used to go to the Hampton and together. So everybody in that bottom left is a member of LIMARC. Everybody there is a ham radio operator. And we used to go together and set up tables at Dayton and have a great time. That was a lot of fun.
Hold on a minute.
Okay, so many YLs have been active in LIMARC, both on and off the air and at the offices of the club. The first one was W2LHK, Aileen. She was treasurer in 71 and 72. Now, I wasn't here on Long Island at that time, so I didn't have the pleasure of meeting her. After that, it was Lila, the K2DO. She was treasurer from 1975 to 76 and vice president in 1977. Then we have Jean Chittenden, WHBGP. She was the director and secretary for many years in the 80s and 90s. Then we had me. I was secretary. 97 and 99, I was vice president in 2000, and then president from 2001 to 2003. And Jane, K2DO, she was secretary in 2000, and Nancy Rosler, TKA, who was director for 2000, 2001, and 2003. So as you can see, LIMARC YLs have been active in the club. So becoming LIMARC's first YL president. Anybody remember how that happened? It was the August 2001 board meeting at the Levittown Library. And if anybody was around then, you'll remember our board meetings were contentious. There was yelling. There was screaming. There was all kinds of things going on. And there were accusations made here. And this person did not want to release the membership list of the law because that was his. And this person said no. He had an attorney there who was from LIMARC for crazy. So what happened was the president, Ray, and I forgot his close one. WATC&J, right? He was up to here. And he didn't say a word, and he folded up his papers and left, never to be seen again. He has not attended a LIMARC meeting since. He was president of the club, and he just was up to here and said, that's it. And so, who was the vice president? Me. So guess what? Hi, Diane. Congratulations. That was. So that's how it started. And then, 1 month later, it was 9/11. Right? So what a thing to hit. So I became president, and 1 month later, 9/11, all our ham radio activities went crazy. Our repeaters were in constant use. We had people trying to go into the city and help, trying to man different places. But through it all, LIMARC members did a fantastic job. At the time, it was difficult because my OM George was section manager. So they were section manager, LIMARC president. We were the biggest repeater club at the time. There was nobody who beat us. And our repeaters weren't in the city. They were here on Long Island, so they weren't affected by all this. So we were a real focus of the emergency communication during 9/11. That was really a terrible time, but a time where our communication skills were put to the test, and LIMARC came up on top. So getting through that, people ask me, is there a YL advantage to being on the air? Well, there are a couple of things. Breaking through the pilots. Right? So if you're on sideband, right, and hear a YL voice, yeah, sometimes you can break through those pilots. Sometimes it's an advantage. Sometimes it's not. But sometimes our high voices make it harder for the audience to understand what we're saying. Right? But there is a little bit of an advantage sometimes. There are YL-specific contests that are held by the different national organizations, YLRL, etc. So I love it when there's a YL contest because everybody wants to work off. And guess what? We're only about 15 or 20% of the ham radio great population. So there's not a whole lot of YLs. So when they hear YLs, oh, great, get another certificate, another award to put up on my stack.
Hey, Diane?
Yeah.
Just for reference purposes, based on our current roster, the percentage of YLs and XYLs in LIMARC is 5%.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Well,
wish
you got
you
work to do.
That's
Okay. All right. So it's low and not a lot out there. So we're in demand. Now on CW, right, it's not really a YL advantage, but for me it's an advantage because nobody knows you're a YL. If you go on and you're on CW, how do they know? How do they know you're a woman, a man, whatever you are, a computer? They don't know. Right? So on CW, you can be sitting there in your pajamas. Nobody knows. So it's great to be on CW and also on the digital mall as long as there's nobody. Right? YLDX positions are a great fun thing also. There have been many YLDX positions across the country. You probably don't hear about too many of them. Right? But there are many of them, and that's another way that YLs like to get together to go to different places around the world and to have that challenge of putting up your own antennas, setting up your station in some foreign place. Right, that's me. I was operating N1AW at the W2AX station in Vermont. That's one of the things that I like to do as well. Some of the role models who helped me along the way, either personally, and I have met all of them personally, or just by what they do and what they have accomplished in their hair radio careers. Number one, Madeline Bloomberg of the K2DO, who is a silent kid. She was such an inspiration. She always introduced me to other things that I could do in hair radio, and she was always at the forefront of the hobby in her own club.
Her grandson has the caller.
Yes, and I met him. He was one of my students. Actually, it's a great grandson. So anyway, I ARL past President K2DO. She's been here to this club and has made presentations. Right, past president, she was president of ARL for many years and influenced a lot of YM hands to become involved with ARL. Carol Perry, WB2MGT, Youth and Amateur Radio. Right, at the Dayton Convention, she lives in Staten Island. She's local. She's also been here. She's been part of Cambridge University, as has K2DO and KS. They've both been very, very active in the hobby, and especially Carol has focused on youth and amateur radio by making sure that they always have a form. They always have a voice, no matter what the event. Then there's Ann Santos, WA1X. If you're not a contester, especially CWs, you probably don't know her at all. But she is one of the premier women CW operators in the world. She and another woman here from Aruba, Emily, were the only YL contesters who were asked to participate in the World Radio Ortiz Championship in Brazil. I believe that was 2006. And they did great. She's a world-class contester. She used to live up here in New England, and I was able to operate with her in a CW contest in Grenada in J3 a couple of times, and I got to see for myself how great a woman can do in contesting. Again, she is primarily a CW operator, although she does work side as well. Then Nancy Cox, WZ8C. Now, you may not recognize her call, but you may have heard of the FIST organization. That's all about promoting CW in the United States. She was the North American president of the FIST organization. I met her a number of times in Dayton, that's her in the middle there. Unfortunately, she did die prematurely early. She's a fireman trained now. She died at 57 from cancer. But in her short life, she contributed so much to amateur radio through her support of the FIST organization. And Jody Milsbaugh, VP5JN from Providenciales and the Turks and Caicos Islands. So when you're a ham married to another ham, and you have a honeymoon to go to, where do you go? VP5JN and Providenciales to the Hamlet to operate the IARU contest in the middle of July. And that's where we went. And that's where I met Jody. She wasn't married at the time, and she had decided to move to Providenciales from Florida, and she's own station there with antennas and radios, and she set up a little cottage with a full station that she would rent out to contest with and did things here. So we rented her little hamlet and had a great time operating that contest. And that was our first one as a married couple. So that was a lot of fun. Okay, so that's pretty much it from me. So you can see, I really just wanted to present to you that amateur radio covers all bases, that women have been active in amateur radio since the late 1930s and 40s. You may not have seen them, they may not have been in the forefront, but we've been there, and we will continue to be there to support ham radio and hopefully grow far. So are there any questions? Yeah, I just want to say you did a wonderful job. Oh, thank you. Yes.
How do we get more of you?
Well, we're out there. You know, every woman here knows that there are different things that they've done in the past that they've done again. So, you know, find the women there. Maybe have another YM net on the air, or maybe a digital one these days.
Where are the Girl Scouts? People who aren't scouts.
Well, now I think a lot of women are coming into amateur radio post 9/11, and now even post COVID. Everybody is looking for a way to communicate outside of regular channels. Look at what happened in Florida with the latest Hurricane Ian, right? It's the ham radio operators that are coming to the forefront and offering the communications. That's still something that not just women hams, but all hams see as a place that they can approach maybe the local emergency communications. That's where a lot of ham radio operators are coming from, especially the women. Any other questions? No? Okay. Well, I'm going to say,
If anybody has questions from the audience, gallery.
The best unwashed. Okay, go ahead.
Anybody have questions from online? Yes, sir.
No?
I hate having heard of the general one.
Well, you know, at that time, we did not have the radio direction finding that we have today.
So we're on it.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, this is a long time ago, before, you know, when I started doing this, and when I got my first radio in the car, there was a big Motorola thing that was this big, and the way you change frequencies was to find a little crystal that you had, and then you had to rub a little pencil graphite on it, so it was on the right frequency and stick it in. You know, and the big thing, one of the attractions of LIMARC was people could make phone calls from their car. Oh my God. But you know what? Everybody heard what you were saying. You know, so sometimes people would forget, and one person would call another from the corner of the house, and they would kind of forget that there were a couple hundred people listening on the frequency. And it was very interesting. But times have changed now with cell phones. You know, a lot of young hams say, what would you hear radio for? I can get on my phone, I can talk to my friends in China, I'm in Africa. I don't need ham radio.
They need to be reminded that the cell phone is a radio.
Well, it's our job. It's hard to do these days. We're competing with a lot of other services and availability in electronics.
It's just like the report. Within the last few years, Brooklyn Tech has not had in-person meetings, but a few years before that, president of the club at Brooklyn Tech was a very nice YL, Esther Lee, and when she graduated, she went to Cornell University. The station at Cornell is W2CXM, Mike, and they had not been active for years. You never heard them on the air. She got them into the school program. A year or two ago, I got email from the trustee at Cornell that she had gotten more activity at the college than they had had in many years. It did not surprise me because did that when she was at back also.
That's great. That's great. So, maybe it's time to start another YL only club or to see what we can do to get more YL active. It's such a great hobby. There's so much fun in it. You don't have to be a scientist or a math expert to have fun in the hobby. I'm not. I was terrible in math in high school, but it didn't matter. Somehow when I saw a schematic, I was able to figure it out, just like my father did, but just a third grade education. So getting back to basics, that's one of the reasons that we started Ham Radio University, to get people interested in ham radio, to get those who maybe were a ham when they were a teen or in their 20s, and let it last, come back into the hobby, see what there is to enjoy and to focus on. A lot of people like this, as I said, the photo of the parks on the air has caught a lot of people's interest. Contesting is a great way. That's one of the things that I enjoy, because I really didn't like getting on the air and just talking about the weather, talking about this, talking about that. I just want to get on and work and get on. And that's what I do. So I found that's a lot of fun, especially also the travel aspect of it. And now, we're kind of past COVID, people are starting to travel again. We're looking forward, God willing, to going to World Radio 14 Championship, which was delayed last year and will be next year in Bologna, Italy. So my OM George has been a referee. This time we're going to go and just be volunteers and enjoy the beautiful area of Italy. Maybe visit the car factory outside. Besides that, also to meet many of the hams that we've met at other of these events. We have friends from Brazil, Slovenia, from Russia that we've seen at other of these events or at the Dayton Convention. And I look forward to meeting up with them again, as well as I think Ann is going, a lot of other people that we know. It's like old homing. It's like coming to a LIMARC meeting after a few years, which I have to admit we haven't been here as often as we'd like. But anyway, thank you so much for letting me talk about the women of LIMARC and the women of ham radio. Have a good evening.